we're going to be focusing on the 7th limb of yoga today, Dhyana, which is a meditative state, and we've come back to the least meditative environment you can imagine. Two cats have been in the house but for 3 weeks, so there's an inch of cat hair, and Charlize is now crawling. When we left, she couldn't crawl, so now we have a lot of baby proofing to do, and we're 3 hours behind, so this will be fun. So that's the whole point of meditation, right? Is to meditate in the midst of all the chaos and craziness. I had a teacher who said it's very easy to go like up into the mountains or to an ashram and find peace. And they're saying like anybody could do that. That's no big deal. But if you can practice mindfulness and find peace in the midst of the chaos of regular life, then that's really worth a lot more. So I'll be sharing some of that chaos today. You'll probably be hearing some random sounds. And I think my headphones will die at some point during the class, but let's see if I can make it work. So with all that said, let's review the 8 limbs, and let's see if we can just go through. There it is. So, oh, that's not the right one. There we go. All right, so we're back at the 8 limbs of yoga. Audio's working. So we are on this 7th limb. So we've gone through yamas, niyamas, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, and now dhyana. Dharana and dhyana are kind of, they seem like they're kind of the same thing. Dharana is concentration. So that's what we did last time, kind of focusing on something to create that one-pointed mindset. So it could be a mantra, it could be a focal point, it could be your breathing, it could be something internal, something external, but something that your mind can focus on and hold its attention. And as you do that longer and consistently, dhyana occurs, which is more of like a open awareness presence. It's really more like mindfulness, where meditation often has a focal point. Mindfulness, you're not really controlling the mind, but you're watching it. You're absorbed. You're basically one with whatever is happening. So you're not in a state of resistance or denial or thinking about something else or being somewhere else. So even if it's unpleasant, whatever it is, you're able to be mindful and be present with it. And so as this dhyana practice today, we're going to start off with a little mindfulness practice. We'll go through our class, and at the end of class, we're going to have a little bit longer to meditate, about 10 minutes. We'll do a seated meditation. So I hope you enjoy that. We're going to start with a seated mindfulness practice. So find a comfortable seat, and you can just sit up tall and rotate your waist around a few times to Sufi grind. Let's get back to the regular camera here. Perfect. And some nice deep breaths in and out. Warming your body. And then backwards, circling the other way. When you do the Sufi grind, you can feel it in the hips and lower back. There's also a little variation or a little nuance you can add where you practice moving the thoracic spine, and you can do it sitting still to kind of get the feeling, and then you can add that to the rotation. So you move the middle of your spine also out to the edges, and sometimes you can feel those upper vertebrae opening too. And you can even add a little cat and cow, so a little arching and rounding when you come front and back. And so adding these little half-inch movements can excuse me, open things up We've been vacuuming all morning. I think it's a little dusty in here. And there's a beautiful windstorm outside too, so appropriate for the inner chaos in the house. Go ahead and settle in, centering, shrug your shoulders up, back, and down. And now, take a few cleansing breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. And now moving up to the neck, you can rotate your head left to right, slowly swiveling. It's nice to move your jaw and your facial muscles around too here. Often you can find there's little pockets of tension you've been carrying around unknowingly in the face. Very good. And then back to center, tilting from left to right. Feeling the edges of your neck. And you can also do that little thoracic shift. So as your head goes to the right, your thoracic spine, the upper ribs can move to the left. And you can feel a little nuance to that movement. When you find a sticky spot, stay with it and breathe into it. All right, when you're ready, settle into the center and we'll begin a mindfulness practice. And what this is an open sensory practice. So you just sit still and allow your senses to scan your environment as they always do. If you close your eyes, your other senses can enhance a little bit. And you'll notice sounds. And when the sound arises, just let your mind absorb and sense and observe that sound without going into thinking about it. Avoiding any detours into memories, projections. And notice how your consciousness moves about. Maybe there's a sensation in your body that gets your attention, and that's where your mind moves next. And just for a while, being that still center, observing your senses. Anytime you move into thinking, just take the next sensation or sensory awareness back to the moment. If it's very difficult for you to stop your thoughts, you can practice the noting technique, where you use your thoughts to note what you're noticing. I'm hearing wind chimes just outside the door. I'm feeling my left shoulder is slightly tight. Let the mind participate in the mindfulness by simply noting what you notice. Take a deep breath in, and a full breath out. And you can set this intention to practice Dhyana throughout the rest of our class today. Simply be mindful, non-resistant. One definition of mindfulness I like is paying attention on purpose without judgment. Paying attention on purpose without judgment. And if you're ready to transition, you can start with a slight seated spinal cord breathing, back and forth. Let your chest move forward and your back broaden, sliding your hands forward and back as you breathe. Your neck can move at the end of the spinal wave. Very nice. Using your hands, you can kind of walk around the perimeter of your body. Sideways, backward, forward. And by crossing your arms, you can warm up your back, hips, and spine. And then the other way. Back to center. And if you're wondering why you don't see one of my cats in the background, she has found the baby's changing table and has now taken that over. So that's great. All right, my headphones have died. They're charging now, so hopefully in a few minutes they'll be back online. I don't know if the music's going to come through very well if I don't have the headphones on. I'll try it. Maybe I'll play it very quietly. But let me know if you don't hear my voice very well. Or if you don't hear the music at all. All right, how's that coming through with the voice music? It sounded good? Awesome. All right, and I'll be backing away from the mic, so I'll probably have to yell. That's always an interesting thing. When you're teaching yoga, you're trying to make people calm, but you're projecting your voice, so you have to yell very gently. All right, go ahead and stand up, grab your bow staff, and let's get warmed up. So take your staff, drape it across your shoulders, and now rotating and lifting your back heels. As you rotate, Comfortable, deep breathing here. Warming up your hips, your shoulders, your neck. It's a huge storm outside. Anybody else in Oregon there? At least the Portland area is probably feeling some of this too. Now rotating forward, make a swimming motion. Comfortable breathing. You can use your body as a mindfulness focal point as we move throughout your body, creating and stimulating many different sensations. Those can all be a chance to pay attention on purpose, without judgment, to what you notice. And now backwards. And let that warmth start to spread as you shift your weight side to side. There can be so many sensations that escape our notice that with just a little bit of intention, they'll appear. Now take your staff and roll up and down, massaging your neck, going left to right as you turn your head. Turning and rolling. Finding your breath. And your upper back, you can roll and massage, rounding your back a little bit. Good. And then take your right hand forward and release the staff with your left and reattach it, putting your left palm back and down, and then massage your right shoulder. Oh, cat got her paw stuck there. Massage that shoulder along the traps and near the neck. Very good. My right side of the neck and shoulder is particularly sore. We were on a 5.5 hour flight with an 8-month-old baby who, thankfully, she did great. She never got into any kind of screaming. She, had her sounds and her squeals and things, but nothing prolonged. But I was basically turning my head to the right for 5.5 hours, kind of looking at her, checking on her, and holding her. So any of those things that come up, trying to release them right away. This particular massage movement can be really good. So now press down, slide the hand closer to your body, depress the shoulder, and then tilt your head opposite away from that side that you're pressing, and breathe. Long exhale out. Very nice. And now you can switch sides. So release the back hand, take it up and over, and then switch now so the left hand has the staff like a sack of potatoes over the shoulders, the right palm facing down, and massage the left side, pressing and releasing. Good. So your back hand, the palm is down, kind of facing towards you. And you lever that top shoulder. The front hand can slide closer to intensify the sensation. Andrew's having a hard time hearing me. Are other folks having a hard time hearing as well? Yeah. So
your words are just kind of breaking up and you kind of come in and out the volume. Very hard to follow your words. We're just following your motion.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, that's true. I was just explaining the purpose of life. I forgot it now, but that's too bad. I couldn't get it out. All right. You know, sometimes those things just come and go, right? I'll turn the music off. Let's see if that helps. All right. How's that? A little bit better? Okay, awesome. So maybe another 10 minutes, see if my headphones are back on, and then we can get our tunes on too. So now take your left hand, slide it to the top, and then press your lower hand forward. Actually, sorry, I skipped something. So press down and tilt your head first to the side. And let's stretch the edge of your neck as you breathe. And relaxing into those sensations. Let that energy flow. Breathing out, good. All right, and now slide up to the top and take both hands over your head and slide down, shrug your shoulders, and roll it out. Wonderful. Now take your hands wide, your feet wide, and let's do a full circle, rotating around your body. And this may seem like a simple movement, but there's a lot going on here. You might find a lot of details, little nuances as you tilt and open and pull, push. Slow circles. Noticing those new sensations that arise with new movements. All right, and then reverse and switch, going back the other way. Rotating around. Gently pulling apart as you go back and squeezing together as you come forward. And you can keep a really light grip with your hands so that your shoulders have a little more cushion. All right, and now raise your hands up high and take your staff down and back to the left. Release your left arm so the staff is now lined up with your spine. Flip your left palm backward and then attach it to the staff and then draw your hands toward each other. You can use one to pull the other up or down, or you can itsy bitsy spider your fingers toward each other along the staff. You're going to hear my yoga references include more and more children's stories as time goes. So the itsy bitsy spider here, your fingers just kind of crawl toward each other. Good. And gently rotate your spine from left to right, kind of turning left to right slowly and watching and noticing those sensations arise, coming and going. And then release your bottom hand, let it come out. And then slide your upper hand up And now take your staff up and over and back down to the front. Shrug your shoulders out. Make sure not to overstretch anything here. And then take your hands up again. So starting in the front of you, you go up, and now you go behind you to the right. Release the right hand, line up with your spine, flip your palm backward, and then draw your arms and hands toward each other, fingertips crawling, or one arm can gently guide the other toward the center. Very important to breathe here, and if you feel any pain, then just give yourself more slack. Ease out of it immediately. Don't force anything here. You can rotate your torso from left to right as you breathe. And back to center, then release your bottom hand and slide your staff up and over and take it in front of you. Shrug your shoulders out and release. Wonderful. Take your feet wide. Let's continue to move through your body, warming your joints up. Take your staff to the sacrum. Slide your hands into the center and now rotate and circle your hips around in a circle. Today we're going to do some movements that will prepare your body for seated meditation, which is actually very difficult if you've tried to sit still for any length of time. I'll never forget the first time I tried to sit cross-legged on the floor and meditate. My knees hurt so bad I couldn't sit for more than 2 minutes. And it took a long time before I could be comfortable in a seated position. Now reverse. So a lot of the yoga asana is to prepare your body to be comfortable, strong, and kind of create enough connections between mind and body that you can go to those deeper levels of absorption. Dharana, dhyānā. And the next step, samadhi. Kind of awakening. So from the center now, place the staff on the sacrum, draw your elbows back, shoulders back, ground your feet, and now elongating your spine, gentle back bend, lifting up and slightly back as you breathe. Feel that warmth spreading through you, your hips staying centered. And then soften your knees, come back to center. And now place your staff in front of you, take your feet wide, and fold forward to tabletop. Elongating your back, you can shift your hips side to side. And then bending your knees and shifting your hips side to side, stretching your inner thighs. And then from the center, take your left hand up high, your right hand down low. Twist to your left as you breathe. Feel the breath expanding through your ribs, opening the heart, the chest, the back. And then back to center and switch sides. Other side, rotate, twisting. And find your breath here. Noticing the sensations that arise. Paying attention on purpose without judgment. Back to center, soften your knees and rise back up. Shrug your shoulders and release. Nicely done. All right, left leg forward, right leg back. Let's continue through some of our classics. Warrior One. And rocking your hips. If you can, lighten the touch on the staff to just the fingertips. Back thighs warming up. And then hold and raise your free hand up high. If you want, you can take both hands up. With a little challenge to your balance, your mindfulness can become more acute, more present. On your exhale, slowly lowering and plant the staff next to the front foot. Your free hand extending forward and now rotate across your body, turning your head and your chest toward your back. Soften the touch on the staff as you breathe. Feel that rotation, squeezing the warmth through your whole midsection. Exhale, coming back, and now switch your hands. So the same side, hand and foot are leading, and you can move the staff now to the outside of the foot, providing a little extra space to open your chest. Opening as you breathe. Keeping your lunge the same, keeping your hips, your front knee over the ankle, opening the hip joints here. On your exhale, come back to center, and now squaring your hips and shoulders forward. You can shorten your stance slightly. Place the staff in front of you in the middle, and hips move back as your arms move forward, extending, elongating to pyramid pose. Noticing the sensations that arise without judgment. And bend your front knee, pressing down as you rise up. And switch your legs, other side. Very good. Gliding and rocking. If there's one little sequence that you can take with you through the week, this is one of them. Lunges, moving up, moving across, and moving forward. Your spine, your whole midsection can really benefit. You can do these lunges daily. At least 3 times a week is certainly not too much. And when you find your balance, go ahead and raise your hand or hands up high. Notice where the temperature changes, the sensations move. Your observer consciousness is alert and present. Exhale, lowering down, planting the staff opposite your front foot, your free hand, shoulder height, and rotate, turning toward your back. Exhale, rewind, come back to center, change hands, open the staff outside of the foot to open your chest further, and now keeping your lunge the same, rotate and turn the other way. Find your breath, lighten your touch on the staff. Feel the warmth and energy flowing through you. Back to center, and now as you square your hips, you can shorten your stance slightly, line up the staff at the middle point, and hips move back, arms move forward to pyramid pose. Keeping your front leg engaged and strong. And then bend your front knee and rise back up. Return to center. Give your body a shake and release. Wonderful. All right, let's move now into some balance challenges and hip openers. Your staff to one side, the same side leg can lift and rotate, circling through. There's kind of a common misconception about mindfulness that means something like you shouldn't think about anything. That if you're thinking about the past or the future, you're doing it wrong. That's not really possible and practical. You have to think about the past and future, and you should. Go ahead and switch directions. The way to be mindful as you think about the past or the future is to notice how you feel in the moment as you think about the past or the future. So you stay connected to the moment. And that's a really helpful tool, because often we think about the past and we might feel depressed right now, or we might think about the future and feel anxious right now. And if we're not aware of that, we're missing a really important part of the puzzle. Go ahead and shake that leg out, release. And now the other side. So mindfulness and meditation isn't that you never think about past or future or other places or other people. It just means you can notice your body's response or emotional response to those thoughts. And then it's very, very useful information. And you can be mindful right now what you're feeling about the past. Mindful what I'm feeling about the future. Isn't that a relief? I used to interpret that. Okay, I always had to be present. Well, how am I going to plan what to buy at the grocery store? Go ahead and switch directions. Always being present. It'd be very hard to make appointments to meet anybody because you never think about the future. It's not very practical, is it? Shake it out. But it is very practical if you have the ability to do both. Let's do our toes and heels. If you think about the future and you say, I'm going to meet so-and-so, and all of a sudden you notice that that brings up anxiety. And you might then be curious about that. Why am I feeling anxious about that? Oh, I forgot I need to make sure to bring this to the meeting, or I forgot something important. And that anxiety can be a great message, a great tool. You can think about the past in ways that benefit you, or you can be stuck in it too if you're not noticing that. All right. Let's energize our feet a little bit more with our chair pose. So bring your feet to parallel, a little bit of space between them. Turn your staff forward and up so your palms are facing up. For a little more detail, you can even put your thumbs out along the edge of it. Make sure it's wide enough though, because we're going to be raising this overhead. And you can adjust that width as needed. Sink your hips down and back as your arms come up and forward. And then hold in your chair pose, Utkatasana. And breathing and letting those sensations swirl through you, observing them without judgment. And then slowly rise up, let your arms come down. And now let the sensations spread and rush back as you move to neutral. Wonderful, and let's do it one more time. Hips move back. You might adjust the distance between your feet or your arms. Hips down and back, arms up and forward. Also called the lightning bolt pose. Check that your knees are parallel. Your tailbone sinks down as your crown rises up. You can wiggle your toes a little bit, making sure your weight is in your heels, which protects your knees. And feel that warmth starting to activate and spread through your body. And rising up, arms down. Stopping to notice those sensations as you move back to neutral. Beautiful. All right, we're going to do one more challenging balance pose before we take our water break. This next one is the Phoenix, or similar to Warrior 3. You're going to stand in the center of your space. Your right hand has the staff in front of you, about arm's length. You're going to pick up the same side hand, your right hand up, right foot up, sorry, and your knees are together. Now the left arm bends at the elbow, and you can stand tall and start here. Extend and bend, arm and leg together. The areas you want to be mindful of is keeping your core engaged so that your lower back doesn't do too much work. And gradually you can start to tilt your torso forward, which will challenge your balance and your strength around your core and hips. You can also lighten your touch on your staff more and more as you gain strength in your standing leg. Back and forth. And find an edge that challenges you, but is possible to hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, maybe flying here, 4, 3, 2, 1, And soft landing, unlike the pilot that took us in last night. And relax and breathe. Let those sensations swirl through you. Just after each position is a really potent moment of mindfulness. You can feel, if you're paying attention, a lot to be aware of. Maybe there's some residual tension you could release. Maybe there's temperature changes, tingling, prickling. Noticing all of that. And now let's switch to the other side. So left hand forward, pick up the left foot, bend the right elbow, extend your arm and leg, gliding back and forth. And you'll wiggle and wobble. A little bit of turbulence. We had plenty of that on our trip home, which I find kind of fun and exciting. Raya, not so much. So I encourage you to enjoy the turbulence in your balancing poses. They will sharpen your reflexes. In this case, they are quite useful. Keeping your alignment as best you can. Moving toward horizontal with your torso, but you don't have to ever get there. Just find your edge, and now let's hold it for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, maybe flying in the last few seconds, 3, 2, and 1. Safely on the tarmac. And put your staff down on the floor. Open your palms and just pause there for a moment. Let the sensations flow through you. Maybe your heart's beating a little faster. What do you notice after you finish the position? All right, let's take one foot, roll and massage your arches. Rolling and squeezing. And then press and release. Press and release. Massaging the sensations in your feet, spreading them throughout your arch, your heel, down to the toes. And rolling out. And in between, stop and notice. Observing the sensations, the effects within you. When you're ready, move it to the other side. There's two very easy ways to bring your mind to your body. One is sensations that are pleasurable, and one is sensations that are painful. And your body, your brain, uses both of them to draw your attention in. Often our pains or illnesses are also invitations to bring our mind to our body. You notice how we're all probably a little more accident prone when we're not being mindful. Our body can easily bring us back with those sensations. Go ahead and press and release. Massaging your arch. Good, and rolling it out. Malus is reminding us we're overdue on our water break, so when you're done, stop, feel those sensations, and then take a 30-second water break, and you can get refreshed. And I hope these AirPods are now charged up enough. When you're back, we're going to move to the floor. We're going to do some movements to prepare you for a seated meditation. And when you're, are you guys hearing me okay? That's it. Oh, okay. Thank you. Let's, I think, yeah, maybe we'll keep the music off for now. It seems like, might be a little easier to focus. So thanks for letting me know though. All right, so keep your staff nearby. We're gonna use that. And also get a cushion or something you can sit on for meditating later. And any other, if you wanna make the floor more comfortable, soften it with another mat or blanket. We're gonna start on your back. So go ahead and lay down on your back. If you want to use your staff, and if you've got multiple sizes, the shorter one is nice, you don't hit things as much. You can put it under your knees and then roll back and forth, up and down your spine. Malus has figured out that when we move to the floor, that's her best chance of getting some petting. She has got us figured out. So you can rock up and down, you can also go side to side. And just releasing any tension around your back and your hips. All right. And now a nice hip opener, which you can do with or without the staff, is happy baby pose. With the staff, and this may also not be quite within reach for everyone, but you can try it. Basically, putting the staff on your feet and then sliding your hands out wide, and you can either hold on the inside or the outside of your feet, and then just draw close. Draw your feet in and feel the inside of your hips, the outside of your hips open up. Little rocking motions are fine. And just let your lower back, this also can help release your hips and sacrum. The deep hip muscles and your lower back too. And if the staff's not working, just use your hands and you just hold the feet, the toes or the ankles or your cuffs. All right, when you're ready, go ahead and release. In between movements, you can draw your knees into your chest, little circles, working out any little kinks here or there. So some of the parts of your body that are required for seated meditation, of course, hip opening, hip flexibility, knee flexibility if you're sitting cross-legged, but also core strength and lower back strength and elongation. So a good way to strengthen the backside of your body is bridge pose. You line up your feet, knees, hips, your palms pressed down to your side, tuck your chin, and then press your knees away from you as you lift your hips up. And hold this bridge pose. This will engage your glutes, your lower back. Try not to over clench, but toning your back body as you lift up. And good rule of thumb is you're going to lift high enough that a full-size cat can fit underneath your hips. You can check and see. And if you need to take little breaks or do it in a few different sets, that's fine. Building your endurance over time, being able to hold this about a minute is a good goal, although it might take a while to get there. And when you're ready, slowly from the top to bottom, let your spine move to the floor and feel your backside relax. And counter pose, pull your knees to your chest. Releasing. And now for building up the core, the front body, you're going to roll to your side and come up to sitting. And take your staff, you're going to put it behind your knees once again, kind of like we did for our roll. You don't need a long one, you could do a medium or short for this. And we're going to do boat pose, but it's very important that you make sure you have enough room behind you. And the way you check that first is you do a couple rolls. So if your boat is to capsize, you don't have anything behind you that you're going to knock your head into or hit. So just once or twice is all you need, and then you sit up tall, right up between the sacrum and sit bones. Shrug your shoulders, up, back, and down, and slowly raise the mast. Lift your legs. There's a few versions. You can try it with your shins parallel, so it's kind of a little easier version, and your staff is drawing in. So you use your arms to pull your thighs towards you. And then to increase the challenge, you simply raise your legs up and you draw your chest forward and you hold. If you need to take little breaks, if your back starts hurting or if there's something, too much discomfort, just modify. Take the modification. The staff though should take pressure off your back and put it where it's wanted, into the core, into the front. Feel that vibration moving through your body. All right, and forward and down. Okay, after that, counter pose, laying back, and once again, rolling and releasing. You can also do a windshield wiper, side to side, bend your knees, and twist. Left to right. Turning your knees side to side, letting your lower back release some tension there. And then when you're ready, roll over to hands and knees, couple more floor poses. And now this has been suggesting cat and cow, so let's do that. You're going to come to tabletop. and tuck and untuck, cat and cow. You can sync your breath, inhale and cow as your chest goes down, and exhale, cat as your back goes up. Pumping energy through your spine into the core, releasing tension in the lower back. This is one of those things that it might seem really easy and kind of like it's not doing a lot in, younger age, middle age. You'd be amazed though, I work with people in their older ages and it's very difficult. So what happens is you can lose this ability if you're not careful. So if you've got this, it feels normal, natural, and easy to you. It's a really wonderful thing that you want to keep. Your spinal movements are really, really critical as you stay mobile through the rest of your life. All right, lower down to your chest. And let's do a little low cobra. So you tuck your forearms underneath and press your palms down, and you kind of draw them backward. It's almost like you're trying to drag your body forward with your palms. You press down and back with your palms, your elbows down, and you just elongate the chest. Spread the collarbones a little. No need to crank your neck up too high. Neck is neutral. And let the lower back release. If you want to take it a little bit further, if you're feeling really comfortable and relaxed here, you put your palms under your shoulders, and any degree, keep your elbows in and just press up. Could be a couple inches, doesn't have to be a full straight arm. Seal pose or up dog, just anywhere along that range. It's important that your shoulders stay down and back so you don't go up toward your ears. And then softly lower. A short makrasana, crocodile pose. You lace your fingers and put them down like a pillow. You put your forehead on your fingers on the floor. And your face down, you just relax. It's okay to rock your hips a little bit. It's like an upside down shavasana. All right, you can lift your head, tuck your elbows in, and now press up into hands and knees, and we'll do a child's pose. So your knees apart, feet together, hips back, your arms forward, and lower your head down to child's pose. Some little variations here. You can itsy bitsy spider your fingers to the left, 45 degrees. Feeling the curve along your edge. And then tiptoe your fingers to the right, 45 degrees. Feel the curve along the other edge. When you're ready, come back to center. Come up to hands and knees. One more cat-cow. Just to work out any little kinks there. My friend has an app that you can get on your phone, which is a cat meow interpreter. So you just record your cat meowing and it tells you what they're saying. And it seemed like most of them was either I'm hungry, I love you, I need you, please pet me. Not sure how scientifically rigorous it was studied, but it seems about right. And now let's come to seated. Take your cushion. When you sit up on something, it really makes a difference for a seated meditation. If you're on the floor, the relationship between your hips and your knees will play a big role in the angle in your back. So if you sit cross-legged and your knees are high, which is where I started when I first started meditating, the back naturally kind of rounds and hunches, right? The higher your hips are in relationship to your knees, the more that your lower back can find the natural lordosis, the natural curve like this. And to lower the knees below the hips actually gives you the ideal curvature in your back. So what you do is if sitting cross-legged on your cushion and your knees are still level or even higher than your hips, sit up, find a bigger cushion, or put 2 cushions down, or sit on a chair. Get to the point where your knees can be just slightly lower than your hips, and you're gonna feel a big difference in the comfort and the ability to sit. For those that don't like sitting cross-legged, I also have a solution for you. I was at a yoga festival and found these seats. It's called Simply Sitting. It's 2 parts and they're magnetically attached. And it creates this meditation stool. And what it allows you to do is to sit in this rock pose, or kind of a traditional Zen seated position where you're kneeling, but there's no pressure on the knees. And it also allows you to have, see how the relationship between hips and knees, the knees are much lower than the hips, which allows the back to have all this ability to move. If you're sitting cross-legged, you probably can't move your back this much, right? It's kind of stuck. So this allows you to sit and your posture can be really nice. So after class, I can send a link if anybody wants to order one of these. They're really nice. And they really are, they're not hard on the knees. So find what works for you, and once you're there, let's do a little bit more rotation just to get settled in, a little Sufi grind. Front and back. Okay, take your left hand down to the floor, your right hand up to the sky, and arch. A little side stretch here, breathe. Your chest rotates slightly upwards. On your exhale, reverse, other side, plant your hand, and go the other way. Instead of thinking about going down into the arch, think about going up at a 45 toward the corner of your wall and ceiling, and a little rotation. Lifting and creating space in your lumbar spine. And back to center. So now I hope that you are feeling strong, open, energized, active within your body. This can be a really good foundation to sit in meditation to absorb into these deeper levels. It's kind of like if you have a submarine that's not very strong or not well built, and the deeper you go in the ocean, the pressures there can pop holes or collapse your submarine, right? The vehicle that you're taking your consciousness with is your body. So the more that your body is prepared to go into those deeper levels of your mind, which are often more pressurized, more difficult to stay there, you really need that structure, that strong vehicle. So anytime when you're sitting and you start to have pain, it's okay to, stretch it out, wiggle it out, but try to come back to stillness, or even challenge those sensations by just watching them without reacting to them. So we're going to do 10 minutes of mindfulness meditation, and I'll keep track of time for us. And we're going to continue to practice that open awareness where you just let your mind move around without controlling it, but you're paying attention to everything that your consciousness finds. And if your mind wanders a lot or it really won't stop chattering, recruit the mind toward the mindfulness with the noting technique. Just simply making neutral observations. I'm feeling this, I'm hearing that, and your mind can support your practice rather than disrupt it. When you're ready, let's begin. As we pass our halfway mark, mindfulness is paying attention on purpose, without judgment. a slow, deep breath in and out. Feeling the sensation of your breath as it flows across the nose, down the sinuses and throat to the lungs. Feel the breath moves down into the diaphragm or the belly. We've reached our 10 minutes. If you'd like to transition now into a short shavasana, laying onto your back, relaxing for a few minutes there, feel free. To keep the lowered brainwave state many of you may now be in, we're going to skip our sharing for today. I wish you a wonderful weekend. I will see you next week for our last of the 8 limbs of yoga class, and then we'll have the following week off for the holiday. Thank you so much for joining. Namaste.